6:30. I'll call this meeting to order. First, would you please stand and for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the nation of the good news of Thank you. Roll call, please. Ms. Radcliffe?
Yes, sir. Ms. Teresa Stevenson? Here. Mr. Tom Sidwell?
Here.
Mr. Philip Box?
Yeah.
Mr. Richard Primrose?
Here.
And Mr. Sandoval is absent.
All right. First on the agenda is approval of the agenda, Exhibit 1.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the agenda.
A second. A motion and a second to approve the agenda. Roll call, please.
Mr. Primrose?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson? Yes. Mr. Sidwell?
Yes.
Mr. Box?
Yes.
And the motion carried to approve the agenda.
Okay, next, were there any public comments requested?
Yes, sir.
All right. We'll go on to approval of the minutes, the regular board meeting for August 22nd. Everybody had a chance to review those minutes and see any additions or deletions?
I'll make a motion that we approve the board meeting on August 22nd.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Sidwell?
Yes.
Mr. Box?
Yes.
Mr. Primrose?
Yes.
And Ms. Stevenson?
Yes.
And the motion carried to approve the minutes dated August 22nd.
Okay, next is executive summary, RPSP submission to HED. I'll turn that over to Mr. Kaiser and Mr.
Okay, yes, absolutely. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Kaiser and I have been working on the RPSP submission to HED, which is the Research and Public Service Projects program. So we're requesting funding from the state. We are able to request funding for 3 different opportunities, and so we've chosen 3, those 3 being nursing, commercial driver's license, and wind energy in those areas. What you have before you is essentially what we're proposing to present. So today we're simply asking for your support and let's see, an approval for what we're presenting to you here today to move forward and present this to the state for funding and ask them for funding for these programs. We can go into a little more detail about these if you like, or I can open up for questions, whichever you prefer.
On the nursing program, it says that the program expansion will be located at Tucumcare and Clayton Hospital. So how does that work? What does that consist of?
Yes, sir. So, sorry if I don't want to talk
No,
over you.
go ahead, Josh.
So
I'll
you
chime in.
Fill in whenever
You're
I'm
doing
sure.
very well.
We've been asked by Clayton to set up an area there to teach from, and it's an opportunity with the Clayton Hospital that's there, located there. So the opportunity would be for us to bring services to the Clayton Hospital, do teaching there at the Clayton Hospital, and be able to work with the hospital and partner with them so that we can expand into that area as well, which is a great opportunity to expand services to rural areas. And as we highlighted in here as well, is that we do live in a health professional shortage area, also medically underserved area as well, Clay County and the county there in Clayton as well. So this would enable us to share resources and also provide opportunities there that they don't have currently. So what we're asking for here is opportunity for added faculty, but also transportation that we'd be able to take. We will need to ask for permission with the nursing board in advance of this, of course, get permission for them to be able to teach in that area. But this would provide us the opportunity or the resources that we need to be able to request that, be able to accomplish teaching. Did I miss anything?
And I think part of this recommendation for nursing specific is if we continue the current cohort growth each semester, we're going to reach a limit where we'll have to have additional faculty to cover our cohort at the current rate we're going, which is amazing. The growth out in Clayton also would be considered a satellite campus, so that's a satellite location for us. Again, it provides support for those students in the region, but also, let's say there's, and I have my notes here, let me see if I can find the exact. There might be an experience in Clayton, let's say, that's specific to mental health or OBGYN that the current cohort can't experience over here in their lab practicals or in Clovis. So they'll be able to actually get that hands-on experience out there in Clayton. And for most of these, well, for all the programs on this that we're asking for additional funding, we're reaching the need for all these to grow, and we're looking to add more faculty or more support and to cover our area so that our faculty can go out and actually actively recruit, because they're fully maxed out in all three areas.
I think what you're referring to is that Clayton doesn't have an OBGYN
Right.
or site, and so for our current cohort, it wasn't necessary, but it will be necessary for next semester.
Exactly.
Again, being able to advance the program that way. And each cohort is a semester. So the first cohort had 7 students in it, and our goal, the max that we could handle was 12.
It's 12.
The second cohort, I believe, had 9. And then the third cohort, she's expecting 12, which will begin in the spring semester, and they're building that cohort currently.
So we're requesting some funding to increase the program and including faculty, and that would be a recurring expense. So if we get this funding, we'll be able to hire the faculty. Then how would we keep that program going?
Sure.
It's the same staff.
So it's very important that we set goals that we can show that we can accomplish and be realistic with this. So what we're able to do is we're able to present this each year with the same funding, with the RPSP funding. So if we're able to reach our goals and moving into next year and show that we've accomplished those that we were planning on accomplishing, then there's very good opportunity that they will again finance the same amount the following year.
And those benchmark goals are based on enrollment, they're based on our area support needs, and then completion. So what do these students actually do after they complete their degree? Are they going to stay in Clayton? Are they going to stay here? Possibly the students are already employed at the hospital here, and we're upskilling them so they get extra skills or credentials. So part of this is showing the state that it's not only serving the brand new students' needs, but these workers that we already have within this region.
As an example of that, currently in the first cohort, there are students that are employed at the local hospital here, and so this is upskilling for them. There are 3 techs, and then there's also 3 emergency medical service team members that are here in town that are upskilling themselves as well. So they're part of the first cohort. The second cohort, one of the individuals works at a doctor's office in Clovis. Another one is a home health agency here in town, and another for a dermatologist in Clovis. Then we have one from Santa Rosa, and again, these are students, and then 2 more that work in the local hospital as well for the second cohort. So what we're demonstrating, and we'll demonstrate to legislature as well, is that we're able to add skills to our local health workers who are currently working but need opportunities to upskill and still provide service locally. So we are able to provide that.
That's great.
So, then next year, do you present this as an RPSP? So you're limited to, you say 3 a year, and these 3 will be probably presented next year also for recurring funds.
That's a good question.
New programs in.
Right, that's a good point, a good question. So I'm just going to ask the question, and maybe you know, Joel. We have received this before for wind.
Right.
Now, and I'm openly asking this, not sure. I think we've continued to get that for wind and for, I believe they've done it for rodeo in the
For
past.
rodeo.
And so a lot of the money that comes for rodeo was designated in this way. So I'm going to have to say that I'm not sure. I have to find an answer for that as to how that keeps recurring, if that makes sense.
I think part of it's going to be on how we report these benchmarks over time. So I would,
Completion and stuff.
exactly, and I would think it would be at least 3 reoccurring submissions to show that this is sustainable,
Sustainable.
and that's more what they're looking for.
That's what
I could be completely wrong.
Hopefully, if you have a successful program, then you have more students and more tuition.
Absolutely, that would fund that. And looking at, as we're moving forward too, there's wind in here as well. And with the wind situation, we're requesting money because we have to turn students away. And we have too many students. We've grown to the place that we need more faculty, and there's a waiting list currently. So we need
Right.
more faculty to be able to meet that need, which means that we'll be able to, once we're able to hire the initial faculty, it'll be self-sustaining as we move forward with the growth that it's showing currently.
And with different, for an example, we've got an opportunity with corrections to introduce renewable energy certificate for our correction students. And that's helping those guys get jobs, straight out of correction. So right now, we can't even jump on that opportunity because our instructors are maxed. We've got Andy Swap and we've got Terrell, and they've got their hands full,
We have 57 students that are in that program currently. And so with those 57 students, their classes are full and they can't do it.
And I wish we could, we could put 100 people in a class, but we have these accreditation rules where you can only have so many students per class so that you're effectively meeting their need. So that's kind of where we've hit the brick wall, on the wind side.
But that's an example of being able to sustain once we're able to accomplish
So
this.
once you sustain, then, and so, let's say you increased from 57 to 70 students. Then there's a formula that kicks in that the legislature would fund for the extra students in.
Right.
Is that correct? So then the possibility is that the wind program may not come up under our PSP next year or something like that.
They might not need it at that
Yeah,
point.
may not need it at that time. It's funded then through the legislative. Okay. So I was just wondering, see, how you get other programs into this.
If we're depending on it every year to renew.
Right.
I understand that.
And I think a big part of this is tied to that enrollment and then the completion number on the other side. And that's with everything we do right now, it's tracking those numbers to be able to say this program is worth investing in, and these instructors are, that's how that's our strategic planning is what it is.
Well, these are 3 programs that there's a real need for employees out there.
Right.
So you should get the students. And maybe this is not the time to ask it, but how does that formula work now when you get extra students how does that formula work that funds, that you get legislative funding?
So the formula, it's based off several things, and it's a complicated formula because of what it's taking into account. One of the heaviest, that weighs heaviest in that formula is FTE, which is full-time enrollment. So full-time enrollment are the credit hours that we have. So if we take our total number of enrollment and we divide that by 12, now for four-year universities, what is 15? For us, it's 12. So we divide that by 12, that gives us the FTE as to how many students or how many credit hours that we are teaching, essentially. And so they can take that, and a lot of the formula is weighed off that. But also, you have how many students are moving from high school into the college, how many first-year students that you have, how many students are completing, whether they're degrees or certificates, how many students have sustained or continue with the college. So we had to show, forgive me, there's a word for this, where they stay in and continue retention. Retention is also a number that they take into the formula. So are we maintaining our students? Are we graduating our students? Are they staying in state? Where are they going after? Are we pushing into four-year colleges, universities, or are they going out of state, staying in? These are little things that all they bring into that formula. But the biggest thing that we try to watch out for is the FTE. The more students that we have, the more, and which also changes how we recruit and how we register students. What's helped us in registration is that we want our students to complete on time, which has to do with financial aid. Financial aid will only cover for so many credit hours, so we have to get our students, in order for them to graduate on time, they need to take 15 credit hours per semester. So that means that when we're advising students, we want to advise them to take 15 credit hours so they can complete on time, but that also means that we're going to get more appropriations, right, because we have higher credit hours. That's part of the motivation. So that's something that we've worked on in enrollment to increase our FTEs, and it's helped. And again, in the strategic planning that we went over a while back, it showed that we do have more full-time students than we've had in the past. We've had a significant increase in our full-time, and that's important because that means that our FTEs are going up, which means that our appropriations and the money that we get in return are going up as well. And so when we break down a student in a class, we look at how much we can expect in tuition and appropriations, which is roughly $4,000. I think is where we've gotten that. So you have $4,000, and so then you have to take into account the salary of the faculty, how much it costs, how much the program costs, the supplies cost, what are the payments there for the building. I mean, all of these things. It's similar to a business as to the ROI. So per student, how many students do we need in a class in order to break even? And it's roughly 21 or 22. So to be able to become profitable. So when you have a class that has over 30 students, you're pushing that then you're just being greedy. So again,
and it's not a benefit to the
right.
student experience or the instructor.
Exactly.
So
you want to benefit and keep the students safe, but also ensure that they're learning, and that you're accomplishing it. So we balance that with how many faculty we need. So at 57, that's how we know we've maxed out our faculty to the classes, if that makes sense.
Complicated.
There's a lot.
It is.
But that helps understand then, that source of funding or appropriation versus, what you're looking at here, and then the potential of this coming under appropriation in the future.
Absolutely. And when we're looking at this number, this isn't just a number that we're throwing out. So when we go into this, we look at how many faculty do we need. So when we present this to the committee, we'll be showing in detail how much nursing faculty makes, how much it'll cost, how many nursing faculty, how many adjuncts per semester, which roughly we hire 5 adjuncts in nursing per semester. We know that we need 2 more faculty members in nursing, and so we have what their salaries are or could cost with benefits. Then we go into support staff that would be required as well in order to accomplish that, and it goes to more details. And so we try to work. We don't try. We do. We work in a way that's efficient to come to a number that will cover all of the needs in order for this to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Great, yeah.
So-
Appreciate it.
So that's nursing, and then CDL is along the same lines. As we go into CDL, of course, it's the same process of how many instructors we would need. If we need an instructor, then we need testing.
So we need examiners, instructors, and in this request, we're asking for a truck too with a trailer. So we've got 3 options for 3 different trucks. 2019 Peterbilt, one with 10,000 miles, and then the lowest one has got 600,000 miles on it. So we're showing them that we're at least planning out a couple of options to make this happen. We also have how many cohorts in CDL that we've had going back to 2021, so we need to be able to list that so they can see that there's active usage for this program and active need. What else do we have here? It's a lot of data. It's a lot of data for these guys. The biggest thing right now is we can perform exams, but we need a truck to actually do the coursework. So that's what this is leading toward. We have a request from, I believe it's Logan High School, where they would actually like us to do some actual training out there, where we could take the truck out, maybe meet and work with their high school students. And that's part of their bridge program to ensure that their students graduating, are employment ready, So the more of those opportunities we have, I think the more likely.
Well, and also the ability to hire a full-time instructor who would then be able to develop relationships with corporations, companies.
Exactly.
We've already, there has been word, brought to us, of those opportunities of corporations. I don't want to name names, but there's opportunities potentially for companies that could use training. But an instructor would be able to devote themselves to recruiting those companies and recruiting students and being able to build that program. As currently we don't have an instructor. We just have an examiner. We don't have an instructor that can build that program currently. But we could, and that would be wonderful.
Sorely needed. Any other questions?
On the nursing program, we're talking about Tucumcari and Clayton. I was wondering about Santa Rosa Hospital. Is there some possibility of that in the future? Or do you expect to bring some of their people would come over and participate in the program here?
Sure, absolutely. I don't know if in the conversation with our nursing director, we were asking her about opportunities that are out there. They currently have partnerships that are going on, let's see, Joel is.
Yeah,
is
we can
Santa
just
Rosa.
run. I don't see Santa Rosa, but I can just run down some of these. So our CNA, they have partnerships with assisted living in Logan, Dan C. Trigg here, phlebotomy, Dan C. Trigg Hospital, BSA in Amarillo is a new partnership, Clovis Hospital, Presbyterian, nursing, of course, out here at Trigg Hospital, Clovis Hospital, Presbyterian Albuquerque, New Haven Psychiatric Hospital, and that's
Where's that?
I think that's in Albuquerque. That might be in
I
Albuquerque.
think it is in Albuquerque.
Clayton Hospital, which I think too they're providing a med surg rotation there, and a NIC unit at the BSU in Amarillo. So a lot of regional opportunities here for clinics for these students, which is wonderful.
And that does come back to Santa Rosa. That's something we need to investigate. That's a good point. We should investigate that and ask.
Closest one to us.
Yeah, it should be right there. So I do know that I mentioned earlier, we do have some coming from Santa Rosa who are studying, but that would be, we do need to look at the hospital and see what we can do. Thank you.
I have a question. So I was looking over the packet and talked about $2 million for wind energy.
Yes.
Is that for a new wind turbine?
Yes, actually, yeah. So that's
Okay,
so that's actually, so we figured in here as well. So it's not only the wind turbine upgrade, but also to expand the program itself. But we wanted to put in the wind turbine. And we don't necessarily know, so when they look over these, they can give us a number. They don't have to say yes or just no. They can come back and say, take out the wind turbine, and we'll say yes to the expansion. But with us putting the wind turbine in, it brings it to their attention right away, so that this begins the conversation that we can then have moving forward, that our wind turbine needs to be upgraded, and that it would be a great asset to the state of New Mexico, as well as our region, for training and the economy moving forward. So the purpose of putting it in there is to, if they say yes, that's wonderful, but also to bring their attention to it.
Right.
And the need that's there, and then that enables us to have that conversation moving forward.
So getting back to that, say you do get that funding, would you replace the current wind turbine or just put up the second one?
We would do the upgrade on this current.
Okay.
Yeah, it would not be a second turbine, but be an upgrade to this one. The turbines now, the technology are more efficient, but also what's happening right now is that there's a part on there, and forgive me for not knowing the actual name of it, that needs to be replaced. And it's coming to a place that's going to need to be replaced. And so this is a great opportunity for us to upgrade.
And you know, the wind faculty has been great. They've kept it running for, I think its life was 12 years, and we've reached 15 now. So they've definitely done their work to keep this going. But that's the next part of this conversation, is to keep this going for 12 more years. We need to, I think it's called re-energize. Re-energize the turbine.
And in your presentation then, would you also show that there's a savings in utility costs? Because this is going to
Could be part of it, sure.
Mhm.
You could push toward the utility savings, the efficiency of the new turbine, even cutting down the potential of the parts for the new one will be cheaper than, repairing the nacelle or something. Totally different price there. Yeah, that's a great idea to show the cost savings as well.
justifies somewhat.
Right. I mean, it would be wonderful for us to be able to say one day we have a green campus and that thing powers the entire campus. But I think there's something with the way it can push the power back out that we can't.
Well, and you use it for training too. That's
Right.
one thing they always told me. You have to shut it down for training.
There you go.
Normally it would be running continuously.
Mhm.
So cuts back the power.
On the commercial driver's license program, we mentioned Interstate 40 there. Why not also mention Highway 54 that
Well, sure.
it intersects here in Tucumcari? Because, man, there's a lot of trucks on the Highway 54 anymore. It's dangerous out there. But it seems like that would just make a lot stronger case, showing that two of the very busy highways intersect here at Tucumcari.
And not only the highways, in our presentation, we'll speak to all the truck repair, all the service centers in town. And if we have a truck, there's going to be a need to maintain it. Then we have the need to teach diesel engine repair. So that entire conversation will start after we get this truck. And we do have, in the past, we had diesel engine repair, and we have the plans of study. They're still in the system, so we just have to reactivate them. So
Yeah, that would be good too.
Bring my bulldozer here.
there you go.
That's right.
That's right. Get it fixed up.
Any other questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve this executive summary RPSP submission.
I'll make a motion that we approve the executive summary RPSP submission.
second. Roll call, please.
Ms. Stevenson? Yes. Mr. Sidwell?
Yes.
Mr. Box?
Yes.
Mr. Primrose?
Yes.
And the motion carried.
Thanks a lot for your presentation and answering our questions.
Absolutely. Thank you for your time.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And thank you for your questions, and thank you.
Announcements, our next Board of Trustees meeting will be Tuesday, September 19th. Any other business? If not, we'll ask for adjournment.
Make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
Motion and second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Sidwell?
Yes.
Mr. Box?
Yes.
Mr.